day. This is Cast Iron ASMR. Tossing coins in bowl of vinegar. Where's the vinegar? Is this the right video? Those are pennies. That one didn't make it in. Okay, hang on. Okay, here we go. Good day. This is Cast Iron ASMR. Tossing coins in bowl of vinegar while rambling about coins. What coin is that? Oh, that one's a nickel. I can see the beaver. Oh, we got a Lenny, a penny. That one didn't make it in the bowl. Okay. When I was a kid, I found when I was very young, maybe kindergarten or younger, you knew about coins because you could use the coins to buy candy, especially penny candies. Because you didn't have much money. I didn't have much money when you're young. You don't have, well, obviously you don't have a job. So I knew the penny was 1 cent. And I knew 5 cents, I knew 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. That was it when I was a kid. A quarter. And I knew what a quarter was. I mean, I knew all the names. I knew a quarter. Because a quarter is what video games, arcade games took. I think you could get jawbreakers for a quarter. That'd be a pretty big one. I think they even, at one time, had like a 50 cent, maybe even $1. They had jawbreakers that were like the size of a softball. I think that would be like $1 when I was very young. Anyway, so I knew all the denominations of the coins. Say I'm 5. I knew the quarter, the penny, but the dime and the nickel. Sometimes I found that a little bit confusing. And I thought it would be better if people just said like 5 cents. Why don't you just say 5 cents? 10 cents. Yeah, it looks like we got the Canadian penny. They stopped making the Canadian penny. I think they stopped in like maybe 2014. I think then. Over 10 years. But I still have pennies like all over the place. I even have like, and I think this was before we knew they were going out of print. But we rolled up a bunch of pennies in the bank rolls, and then I didn't do anything with them. And they're still just kicking around. There's like some outside, under the snow, slowly deteriorating. But I was cleaning up one time, and I got a jar doing, like a spring clean, a nice big clean, and I had a jar just for coins. And you find them everywhere on the ground, like everywhere. It's like you come home and like unload your pockets and then throw your coins everywhere. But the funny, story is that I have this jar of coins, and then it's great. You got a big jar of coins, and you can, go to the store. I went, I had this jar of coins in town, and I was buying something I was getting gas, and at the convenience store I was buying something else. I was paying cash. I paid it. No, I didn't pay at the pump. At this gas station, you don't pay at the pump. And I went inside, and whatever the total came to, it was an odd number, where, you say it's 246. But in Canada, there is no 6. Most people don't pay cash. Anyway, so I take the coins out of my jar, and I'm counting it out. I was like, 46. Sure enough, I got a penny. And I was like, there you go. And then I was like, oh, it's been so long. You don't want that penny, do you? They couldn't do anything with it. How many pennies we got in there? There goes another one. Oh, that's a dime. Canadian dime just fell in there. Oh, let's talk about what's on the coins, the Canadian coins. So on the Canadian dime, it's trivia time. What is that? What is pictured on the Canadian dime? And we're not talking about the Queen here. It's the blue nose, you are correct. The blue nose from Nova Scotia. The nickel, you can see it there. We were talking about the nickel with the beaver. Now this one, even if you're Canadian, this, I don't know the stats, but this might stump you. What is pictured on the Canadian quarter? Ah, you knew it. Yes, it's not the moose. It's the caribou. But sometimes some people get tricked on that one. So, what other coins you got there? The penny. What's on the penny? Maybe some younger viewers might not know. Can we see in the bowl there? I see some pennies. Yeah, I can sort of spot one there. And it looks as though, oh, there, one just fell in. It's hard to see that one. There's a little dirty. So tossing these copper pennies into the vinegar will clean them. They'll get all nice and shiny. That's science. But maybe a lesser known science fact, if you leave those coins in said jar, wait, there's no said jar, so even in the bowl, but say you take, so afterwards, I pre-recorded the video because it's in slow motion. You couldn't have the audio while you're doing it in slow motion. Look at this one. All right, which one's that? The toonie, of course. The, the Canadian $2 coin. I'll tell you, I was a cashier when the $2 coin first went into circulation. You know, as a cashier, there's a little speculation to your job. Where are you going to stick this thing? We had the toonie, not the toonie, we had the loon, for many, 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 many years before the toonie. The toonie comes out. The day it comes out, I'm working I'm a cashier. I'm starting at 8 in the morning. I think then 8, 7 in the morning. First day of the toonie. It's kind of, okay, let's crack these guys open. Took a look. We'd heard there was going to be a coin in a coin. And, they're pretty nice looking. And it wasn't, I was like, well, where am I going to stick this coin? With my coins, because you only have so many slots. But what I didn't think about or realize, the little slots where you stick your coins, you just have little dividers and you can move them around. So we just made a spot for the toonie. And then, so the very first day of the toonie, and I don't know, did they have it called a toonie then? I think they probably did. Yeah, they did. It was sort of up for debate a little bit. I don't know who got to decide. I liked Looney, even the Looney when the Looney first came out. That was the first, big discussion that I could even sort of remember. I don't know why. This goes back to, I guess you can't just call it $1. $1. It's not 25 cents. No, it's not 5 cents. It's a nickel. It's made out of nickel. So, they wanted to call the dollar coin a loonie. But it was also maybe a loon. It was between loon and loony. I thought loon would be better. But toonie or loony was still pretty good. So when the toonie came out, toonie, I guess that's the joke. It doesn't even make sense. Obviously, it's two loonies. But toonie as a word isn't a word, whereas tune is. That cost 2 tunes. Anyway, that's what I was rooting for. And I think I'd even go, hey, you got a tune? Toonie. Nah, then you end up saying what everybody says. So the toonie came out that very first day. It's like 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning. I think probably, well, I can't remember. It was a long time ago. The toonie's out. And within hours, like that first same shift, but in the morning, somebody comes in and pays me with a toonie. But then I could kind of, because you're kind of looking at them, it's the new coin. It's different, even if you're not looking at it. If you're a cashier, you really get a sense of the feel of money and stuff, even without wanting to or caring, I guess. Anyway, I noticed this toonie coming in the very first day, and I thought, wow, it's like it wasn't pressed correctly. And there's sort of like a ridge where the middle gold coin part is. And then I was taking a closer look at it. I was like, well, this is, I compared it to another toonie. And what it was backwards. So the inner coin had been flipped around. So this guy I was must have like, hey, this is the new this is the new coin. Hey, look, there's a little coin in the coin, and then maybe they somehow like popped it out, and then they need $2, so they turn it around and stick it back in, but they stuck it in backwards. I think that's still legal tender. That was the first day of the toonie. I think when the loonie came out, I think that was like 88 maybe, 89, somewhere around there. That everybody was worried. Well, not worried, but oh, now there's a dollar coin. Now the pop machines, they can just raise the price because you can stick a loonie in. Around the time that at the time the Canadian $1 coin, the loonie, came out, generally speaking, a can of pop was 75 cents. But how easy it was for them to just say, no, now it's $1. And that did happen. So at that same job where I was a cashier where the toonie came out, and I'd had jobs dealing with cash. Cashier, sure. Well, anyway, but I realized in this job, a high volume cashier job, that when I would, you get too much coin, then you got to roll the coin. On the toonie, you can tell how long ago that probably was, because people don't buy with money anymore, coins. Everything's all on the credit cards and the plastic and stuff. But, your cashier, you're getting all these coins, and suddenly your quarters, your loonies, your toonies, especially loonies and toonies. You got a till, you're a cashier. Those things can rack up pretty quick, and suddenly you got a couple $100 just there. You don't want to have all that cash in your till, so you got to roll that stuff up, stick it in the safe. And also, like at the end of your shift, you have to count all your money. So during your shift, if you got a bag full of coins, that would take a long time to count. Roll that stuff up. So I started to discover that when I would go to roll pretty much any denomination, but more often it would be toonies or loonies or quarters, I would just grab a bunch of the coins to count them out. And I started realizing every time, no matter if I tried or not, I never tried, just grab them coins, count them, stick them. They say a roll of, quiz time, a roll of quarters. What is the denomination, the number denomination, the price of a roll of quarters? You're right, it's $10, of course. So I'd grab the coins out of the till and go to count them up. And like every time, it was like right on the money. $10, $10, $10. Go to grab some loonies to roll them up. $25. A roll of loonies is $25. was a roll of loonies. Of course, it's $50. So it seemed like every time I would grab a handful of coins, it was always the right, correct denomination. And then I thought, well, maybe they do that on purpose so it's easy to grab and roll coins. It's just a handful is how much you need. So I asked other cashiers, when you're rolling coins, can you just grab the correct amount every time? They're like, what? I can't remember. Basically, no. Or they never thought of it. They thought I was weird or something, maybe. I don't know. Another topic of discussion on the day of the toonie, when it first came out there, from the customers, my manager, was okay, we got the $1 coin, the $2 coin. And they thought, well, how long until there's going to be a $5 coin? And like, yeah, our pockets are going to be weighed down. But there hasn't been a $5 coin yet. When I was really, maybe when I was 5, I think probably around that time, I did remember hearing about, maybe I was older, like 6, silver dollars. I was a little bit confused. Kind of like the nickels and the dimes. There was this thing called a silver dollar. And so there were no loonies yet. And a silver dollar, if you know, Canadian dollar coin is in silver. So I'd heard of these silver dollars, and I don't know if I'd seen them. So maybe somebody showed me, a friend or something, and it was an American silver dollar. And it was a coin. But I don't think, I don't know, it was I don't know. I knew about this. I knew there was such thing as a silver dollar. But then one time, or at the same time, around the same time, there was such thing as a silver dollar that you found at the beach. And what's that? It's like a shell or something. It's got that little hot cross bun design on it, I believe. It's flat, silver dollar. Anyway, I was very young. That was a little bit confusing. Somebody told me once that you could beat a breathalyzer test if you suck on pennies, copper pennies. Don't try that at home. I also heard about wooden nickels. That was later in life. I'm still, maybe when was that? A wooden nickel. I think that's an American thing. And were they made out of wood? They must have been. But actually that reminded me of pence. And a halfpence. That's in the Christmas carol. Oh, half pencil will do, something like that. And I remember learning about that in elementary school. Like maybe a pence, I think a pence is like a penny. So a half pence is half of a penny. And the pennies would actually break apart, I think, they told me. So then if you got a half pence, you can't make, well, you could make, you could make a pence out of it by putting two half pences together, but it would never be one four, I mean, unless you glued it. Crazy glued it together. And then there was 2 bits when I was a kid there. Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say 2 bits since I was a kid. Because I think that was an older thing. What was that about too? And then they explained that to me one time, maybe in school. A quarter is 2 bits. But if it's just one coin, why is it 2 bits? Maybe this all was on the same day in school. Maybe the quarters broke apart too. I don't know. Also, when I was a kid, I learned about slugs. Not slugs like the animal. What do you call it? Well, slugs an animal. What are those things anyway? It's not like creepy crawler or something. I don't know what you'd classify them as. Slugs. Like if you had a snake, you'd call that a reptile. So slug's like a snail. Yeah, anyway, I don't know what the classification is. But I was a young kid there, and then this friend said, oh, he goes, oh, I got a whole bunch of slugs at this, I got a whole bunch of slugs, he said, they're building a house next to mine. And then I said, the slugs? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, slugs. And then you can use them in the arcade games, and like, he says, they don't always work, but sometimes they work. I said, what are these? And he showed me, and I don't know what. Anyway, so it's a piece of metal that's been punched out, and it's the size of a quarter. And apparently, you could use them in place of a quarter. Sometimes it would work. A long time ago. But sometimes it wouldn't work. I don't know how vending machines today would be different. I don't know. I don't know what the technology on coins has been now. Weight, it goes by weight, by size, it's got to fit in there. Certain machines probably just, like I know, like a gumball machine. It would work in a gumball machine. You just got to get something, I think, in there that's the right size so that when you turn that crank, it gets past whatever latch or lever is using to have the thing not turn. If that makes any sense. When I was a kid, we went to America to visit for vacation, and I was very well aware. No, I was aware that our money at the time was not worth as much as the American money. And we bought. We went down and I didn't do it, but my parents, get some American money course, you couldn't use the Canadian money. I knew this. You gotta use the American money. I was a kid. So I knew this. But then we were in, I don't know, we were somewhere in some store. And they had, I can't remember if it was a gumball machine. It's one of those machines. It was for candy or gumball. Probably gumball. And I thought, oh, I want a gumball there. Anyway, and I was thinking, I got some change in my pocket. And I pulled it. I was like, oh, I wonder if a Canadian quarter will work. And so, I tried it. And it did work. I knew that nobody could catch me because it was just a gumball machine. And no one was looking. So I kind of felt like I duped the system. One time I was watching, I can't remember what it was, some late night program, late night show type program. And I can't remember, it was a comedian, I think it was a comedian. Somebody was on there, say, talking to Jay Leno or something. And he made a joke, or he was talking about something. And then he said, yeah, it's really annoying. Kind of like when you reach in your pocket and you pull out some coins and you find a Canadian quarter. Like that, that's really annoying. And it would be because they're not going to take your Canadian quarter. And then, but the thing was, I think it was Leno. And then they always sit on the couch and the previous guest is still there most of the time. And so the guy, and he gets some laughs. Oh, it's like finding a Canadian quarter in your pocket, in your hand. Then he leans over and it's Pamela Anderson sitting next to him on the couch. And he goes, and he says something like, Pamela, like how like that is. And then she simply says, no, I'm Canadian, she says. I don't find that annoying. Payphones. Payphones, like in maybe old movies or TV shows, they were like a dime, but my whole life they were a quarter. And some places, they were more than a quarter. In Canada, and maybe elsewhere. There are fewer and fewer payphones. Maybe some places there are no payphones. I do know there's places with no payphones. I think when I went somewhere last summer, I was at the airport and they have the news always going on the TVs and with the closed captioning, so you gotta read it there. And they were showing the last payphone being removed from New York City. What if your phone doesn't work? What if you are coming from a different country and, your cell phone doesn't work? You lose your phone. You don't have a phone. Anyway, There are several payphones in the town I live near. And what would everybody do? Not everybody. Definitely the kids. When when I was a kid, you see a payphone. What do? Trivia time. Yes, of course. You stick your finger into the coin return slot to see if somebody forgot their coin. Like, has that ever happened? Maybe it did. I think when I was a kid, maybe I found that. And you always like jiggle the thingy, the coin return thing. Because sometimes someone might have put a coin in there and it didn't register. And then what, they stick another one and it does? Or like they just think the payphone doesn't work? There was a Tegan and Sarah music video where they were puppets. They were these little puppets, and I think they were like Miami Vice. They were driving around in a remote control car. But when the little Tegan and Sarah puppets were next to the payphone, they used their little puppet arms to check to see if there was any coins. Twice when I was a kid, I had dreams. Two dreams. I remember two dreams where I found a whole bunch of coins. So I never dreamt that I ever really got rich, but I remember this first dream, and like, there's all these. I was at my friend's house, and I was at my friend's house. I would always go to, and behind the couch where we'd all be watching TV, I noticed there was like this, sort of like a heating vent. In the movies, they crawl like the ventilation system, but like there was a ventilation system opening behind the couch. And what kind of led me there were like coins on the ground. Oh, what are these coins? Hey, there's a bunch of quarters and a loonie. Was there a loonie? Maybe that was before loonies. I think it was just like quarters and nickels and pennies. And then I was like, whoa, what the heck is this? Like secret entrance to a ventilation shaft, but that's just going into the wall. Perfect size, like in the TV shows and movies. So I started crawling down there, and there was like a bunch of, like even bigger piles of quarters and nickels. And I was sort of collecting them. Well, I was collecting them. I was grabbing them. And I thought, man, like I must have about, I probably got about $20. But at that time, maybe I didn't have the good estimate power for coins. And then I woke up, and I was disappointed. I was probably planning what to do with, this money. One of my favorite episodes of Scooby-Doo is like from the original series, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The first or second. It's either the first or second season. I don't know what the episode's called, but there's a mummy in it, as in like an Egyptian monster wrapped in bandages. And so the mummy, the guy dressing up like the mummy, he wants this rare, valuable coin that the bad guys, I can't remember. He wanted the coin. And throughout the whole episode, when the mummy's going to scare the gang, he's walking with with his arms in front of him, and he says, "Coin, coin, coin." I was backpacking across Europe, and I was in France. And me and a friend went, backpacks, a one-way ticket, and we're gonna backpack across Europe and have a great time. But when you cross the borders, you didn't have to go through customs or anything. And so you could go from country to country. And anyway, like, I haven't changed over my money. Now I'm in France. France. They got France money. And I think we were under an underpass. I think so. Because we could only hitchhike on the side highways. So that put a damper. Anyway, so I'm under this underpass, and I see a coin on the ground. A big one, right? We're in France. What is this coin? I pick it up, like, oh, I'm so lucky, right? I pick up this coin, and I think it was like 1.5 francs, 2.5 francs. I don't think it was very much money. We got to Spain, you just walk across. It just seemed so weird to me. Huh? Let's just walk across. I don't think anybody talked to you. Okay. And so then we're in Spain there. And we go to a convenience store, and they had a bank machine because you got to take out the money. So I stick my bank card in, and it's all in Spanish. I don't know what it says, but I know how bank machines work, and it's giving the suggestions how much money you want to take out. So I'm like, how much do I want? And so I'm like, okay, well, let's see how much like a can of pop is, and that'll give us a estimate, because it was like, what do you want, like 500,000 units of money? The lowest one was that one, 1,000 or something maybe. Because I think like a can of pop, that's like $1,400. Anyway, so I took money out, and I paid for, like, I think I bought a chocolate bar and a Coke. I was buying Snickers, the chocolate bar, all across Europe from day one. I was like, this chocolate bar, this don't taste like Snickers in Canada. And at first I thought, oh, like maybe this is like really warm or something, because it wasn't hard. Anyway, it was way better. Your cheap chocolate bars are much tastier. Later I learned that they have, anyway, yeah, it's better chocolate, obviously. Well, not obviously. I knew there was good chocolate, but I didn't think there'd be good chocolate regular chocolate. Like even the cheap chocolate's better. It's like even when you buy a cheap bottle of wine in France, still a pretty good bottle of wine. So when I paid for my chocolate bar and my Coke, I think I got a Coke. They gave me back my change, and there were like some really little ones, and there was one with a hole in it. Then I went up to Holland, and there was the Gilder, and I really liked that at the time. I don't know that they still have the Gilder. It's all just euros now. But the Gilder, how did it work? So if it was 5 Gilder, yeah, this was really good. If it was 5 Gilder, that equaled like maybe 450 Canadian. So it was pretty much on the money, but our money was worth a little more, and things were priced like how it would be in Canada. You buy a can of Coke, it's like whatever. Maybe it's $1. It's a Gilder. Although they did, I think, have like, is it the 1.5 Gilder? You got yourself a 1.5 Gilder. Suddenly it's a lot easier to charge 1.5 Gilder than 1 Gilder. Maybe it's 2.5 Gilder. I know there was a movie theater, like a second run movie theater. We saw a couple movies. I think it was the 2.5 Gilder theater. Well, I think that's enough about the coins. Good day.